Hey, welcome to Here to Saves. I'm Paul,
And I'm Patrick.
and
Oh, I was
I,
caught having a little sip of my water.
I gotcha. Which goes, that was a great time because I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't know. I saw you just going. I was just like, oh, the timing. Um,
It's only water, folks. It's only water. I promise.
it's Irish water. You'll know what that means if you saw our last
Yeah.
episode, or one of our last
what
episodes. Which is so. We're going
are we
to.
doing?
Yeah, what are we doing, Patrick? I'll just leave this to you because it was my idea, but no, no.
Well, we're
Um,
doing a show all about cars. Hey,
oh, you finally got
Paul,
there.
tell them what we're doing tonight because otherwise I'm going to end up talking about cars.
Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about movies that were saved, or sorry, TV shows that were saved by the fans. We've done a critics or fans powered episode way back in time, which goes. So we decided to do one where it's essentially the fans doing the Lord's work, the Lord being something special in this show. Kind of thing. So yeah, it's about fans kind of campaigns to save certain shows. We've picked out some of our favorites,
Yeah.
kind of thing, and some surprising ones looking back on them, kind of thing.
There's going to be at least one thing in this episode that's going to surprise you all out there. Some of you will know some of these things. Some of you will be like, "Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's how the show got to keep going, or got its extra final season, or whatever it might be." So, Paul, where would you like to start?
Well,
Do you want to go? Go?
I'm gonna
Go?
jump in with some of the more kind of not the more recent ones, but some of the ones that are kind of slowly coming to an end recently enough. You think? So I'm gonna go with The Expanse, which is currently one of the hottest sci-fi shows out there. Which goes, but surprisingly enough, this show wasn't doing that well on Sci-Fi, the Sci-Fi Channel, it was being threatened to be cancelled after its I think its third season, which goes and but the show was amazing. The show was absolutely incredible, and the fans went mental over trying to save it, like absolutely mental. Like this is ridiculous stuff. Um, Jeff Bezos was getting contacted from industry like specialists, like Craigslist owner, and some other industry like Elon Musk and stuff about saving the show. That's incredible.
It's one thing. Like we're talking about, how much power fans have, and everybody always assumes we mean fans, like me and you and everybody out there. Well, just think that even the super rich and super powerful, they're into some things too. And if you're lucky, they're into one of the things that you're into, and they can be like, the way 10,000 people signed a petition to keep uh, Expanse on the air. Well, I'd like to be the 10,000 and first, and my name is Elvis Presley. It's like, all of a sudden big names come along and really, really help push stuff over the top. It's cool. I love it that kind of stuff can happen.
Yeah, a massive campaign of Save the Expanse like hit Twitter and everything, which exploded with a lot of celebrities. George R. R. Martin, which was also campaigned about how it was a great show. To the head of the Amazon Studios at the time, which was an incredible thing because his hot ticket at the time was Game of Thrones,
Yeah,
and
he's
he's
the
going,
competition.
you should probably save this show. It's really good. And if you're like the guy who wrote the show that currently pretty much owns the night that it's on, is going, you should probably keep the show going on. It's really good. Kind of have to listen to him. But
And I think that's wicked. I love the idea that we all get to find out that, secretly Barack Obama is into House, and wants Dr. Greg House to have another season, whatever it might be. I kind of dig that on just it's so silly, and I love that it's true kind of way.
this is the thing, and the most ridiculous part of this was that fans got together and like pitch together the money to have an airplane fly by the Amazon headquarters, like Amazon studio headquarters, with a banner saying "Save the Expanse." Like that's the level of commitment that they had.
That's fans when they love stuff, they're a powerful, powerful group. And as you say, we did do a previous episode about do fans have too much influence. And at the time, it wasn't necessarily a negative or a positive that we were drawing. It's just where creative decisions being swayed by it. The difference here is it's when people say, no, 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 don't stop doing this. We're out here, we're watching, particularly for advertisers. We want everyone to know that there is an audience, that this is commercially viable, and we'd like it to continue. Because we've all hated watching TV shows that ended when they shouldn't have, or they weren't given a final season or whatever it might be. So I think overall this is a net positive. And I just do think it's funny if you also happen to have the Pope be a huge fan of Desperate Housewives or something.
But this is, oh man, Desperate Housewives, the Pope. That would be genius. If he,
It's probably true.
If you caught him, if you caught him,
I'm not saying all of the popes, just maybe the last two. I don't know, it would have been early days for the one before that, and he would have been older, maybe not his thing. I'm pretty sure the last two were into Wisteria Lane. I think that's the name of the street.
I don't know. Oh man, that would be. I would love to see the analytics, and it's the one person going, "The Vatican, please come on, the Vatican!" and it's just the geolocator is just someone watched it in, yes. Which was so yeah. So The Expanse got saved by the fans, and it's moved on to its final series last year, I believe, and which is season 5, season 6, which is.
I'll let you. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it might be 6.
But it's an incredible show. I'm still going through it right now. I originally read the books, so it's a very close. I was one of those people as well that was just they shouldn't cancel it, but did nothing about it. I didn't sign it. I didn't see a petition or anything like that. But I was very much just they shouldn't. Every conversation I have with friends and stuff, I was like, no, don't cancel it. It's really good.
That's cool. So, do you mind if we segue to, just speaking of commercialism, do you mind if we segue to my favorite thing, which is, if you can convince, because remember, TV, by and large, it's a financial game. It's art. It is art, folks. And it's entertainment, and it's all sorts of things, and it's social commentary, and it's good. But it also has to be paid for. And to get that paid for, you have to have a benefactor, or in most cases, you have to be able to make money out of advertising or similar. Paul, the humble sandwich has played such a huge role in two shows that I personally love, and I know you also love. Where should we start? I want to unveil this one slowly for anybody who doesn't know it, because it's going to be hard to believe that a little known TV show called Chuck, very nice show. Zach Levi, Emily, I believe her name was Schwarzsky. I'm going to ruin her name if I try and say it. But you've got a lot of up and coming, great little stars, tightly written show, very funny, very sweet. It's looking at maybe, not having enough viewers and possibly being cancelled. And Paul, what do the fans do about it? Because this is one of those things. It's not just the fans did something. What did they do?
Well, in for Chuck's sake, second season, they had a little known sandwich place called Subway suddenly pop into the show, and from there, once they heard that the Chuck series was going to be cancelled after 2 seasons, they flooded Subway shops and and attributed the reason that they were buying footlong Subways and stuff like that was because they saw it in the show Chuck, which was a big, huge marketing thing for Subway to then latch onto and be like, you should probably save this show because we're getting a large amount of business from it, and if we can be more in it.
And you're getting free advertisement, because they quite literally had, they had a store in the show again. And okay, let's face it, anybody sitting there behind the executive's desk in Subway is like, really, this Chuck thing? It sounds, I don't know, how could this really work? Somebody else in the room will have gone, not only are they all the obvious benefits, but just this story, just the idea that fans went in and bought a load of footlongs and went on a social media campaign of, we're going down to Subway to get a sandwich to save Chuck, all of these things, that all adds up to social media. Mm-hmm. And then that becomes traditional media. When outlets are writing articles and writing stories, and it's being reported in outlets, Chuck, the TV show that half the people who are reading the article don't know about, is saved. Beloved show, Saved by Sandwich Giant, Subway, The Heart of Gold. It's a win for all the outlay that they had for a show that was, let's face it, not gigantic budget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
And don't get me wrong, they weren't saving Game of Thrones here.
Yeah.
They weren't paying 200 million an episode sort of thing. It was a much more meager budget.
Yeah, and like it's kind of, as you said, it's a win-win situation because by saving the show, they buy themselves a lot of goodwill from their consumers as well. Like, not only do they get a massive marketing, like, campaign behind them of Subway, they get to continue possibly advertising within the show as well. And it's now, if it does continue, it's now a wink and a nod to fans that this thing in the show also saved it. You also buy a lot of faith, a lot of goodwill from your consumers, and the fact that, like, you saw the kind of humor in like pushing and saving a show that just had your sandwich in it. But the interesting thing about this is, it's not.
What's that, Paul?
It's not the. This will not be the
not the
final
only.
time that
Yeah.
Subway steps into the ring of saving a show, which is incredible.
Surely not, Paul. Another show was saved by Sandwich Giant, Subway.
Yes, sandwich Subway, sandwich giant Subway, footlong giant Subway, saves Community as well. Which is, Community had a storyline in it of a little shop, which Subway opened up in, and it was against the storyline was against one of the characters in the show.
Yeah, so like it's the idea that somebody was, one of the students is learning about business and realizes she can run a business, and the underlying storyline is there is a space in the canteen. There's a space for a shop, an outlet, and of course, because Community from its inception was always on the brink of cancellation, moved through 3 different networks, ended up, by the way, folks, on one you've never heard of because it died so soon after, Yahoo. Anybody remembers Yahoo? Yahoo tried to have their own streaming service before it was cool. Let's face it, fair play to them. They were innovators. They were way ahead of HBO Max, Peacock. They were way ahead of everybody except Hulu and Netflix, I think. But they didn't get it right. I respect their choice in show. But yeah, so like there's a show that was constantly, sort of Damocles swinging wildly. But when it came to fans going, hey, we're going to do the Subway thing, Subway, I think, really were like, yeah, we're going to do the Subway thing too. We're going to not only be on screen, we'll be part of stories, we'll be part of narratives. And it was a show with a loyal following, but also spoke to, I think, what they would see is a demographic that they really want to engage with. Because nobody wants me anymore. And Paul, I hate to say it rapidly, they soon aren't going to care about you either. They love the idea of 18 to 25-year-olds because that's a consumer for life, as far as they're concerned. And this show was meta. It was out there. It was non-mainstream, but viewed enough to be considered mainstream enough to be useful. And fair play to Subway. Why not do something really smart twice? For all the money it would have eventually cost them, they got it back tenfold.
But it's, again, once they chose their, I don't think they chose their battle, because obviously the opportunity,
the battle chose them.
Yeah, but once again, it was a show that didn't take a lot of finance. So yeah, so it didn't really it didn't lose a lot of or it didn't cost a lot to get the show made again. So they didn't really once again make themselves into oh no, we're making Blade Runner the TV show. This is going to be so expensive kind of thing. It was more like, hey, Community is a, it's based around one kind of venue, kind of thing. It's already got pretty much all of the sets and everything already done up and stuff, and so it doesn't cost that much. So once again, an opportunity.
I'm in love with the idea of Subway finding out that what they're about to finance is Blade Runner, the TV show. Somebody go, no, look, we do this. Just give them some money. It'll work out well. It's worked out before. By the way, we're making Blade Runner, the TV show, and we're making it all actually in the future in space. So we're going to have to invent a few things, and you're now financing it.
Oh, and we're going to have Tom Cruise. Yeah, it's a good kind of call for them, in the sense of, once again, they get to be the social kind of media heroes again. So
yeah.
which is
And
cool.
there's other ways that this has been done, Paul. Let's face it, like fans just through even before social media. Let's face it, Firefly was one of those early shows that back when shows were being cancelled 2 episodes in, there was a terrible time in the early 2000s and even the late 90s where so many great shows were getting a chance, but it was you have one chance, and if it didn't work, yeah, you're 4 episodes and that's it. We're not renewing you at all. There was an absolute ton of TV shows. They were throwing a lot of stuff at the wall, and if it didn't stick quick enough, they were getting scared and going on to their next thing because they had so many things in production and so many things on the slate. But fans, even before social media, did their thing, writing, calling, buying, creating message boards, working in whatever would have been called, what people used to call it, just the internet. Now I guess it'd be referred to as Internet 1.0, which I've never thought of that phrase before just now. That's creepy and really ages me.
AOL.
Uh, yeah, exactly. They were all on AOL Messenger, and they were getting things together. And unfortunately, we didn't get more Firefly. It was too late. But what we did get was the ability for somebody to make a financial proposition to say, we can make Serenity, the movie, it's not going to be a follow-on series, but we can do this and look at these numbers, business people who don't care about what we're actually making. Even if just these people show up, we're that much closer to break even that all we need is an extra 10% on top, and you're making some cheese,
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, Firefly really didn't get the best opportunities in life. It was it was shown out of sequence and everything like that, and like yeah, there was a, as you said, there's a massive campaign. So much so that eventually they released the entire series on DVD, which then the DVD series sales like exploded so much that like Josh Whedon's script was finally financially viable for Universal to pick up, kind of thing 2 years later. So like that's where it comes from. Like Universal Studios saw the fact that the DVD sales were massive. There's a huge big active fan base and stuff, and Josh Whedon had a film script already written. So what's not to like on kind of helping finish off the story that everybody seemed to want to have, kind of thing. Since, as we said, there's an active fan base trying to get it saved. Like it's even 2 years later, they were still campaigning to bring it back,
Yeah.
but Fox had put the last nail in the coffin, kind of thing of never bringing. They put double down on it because they didn't want to be, I guess, held to ransom by fans. So they just
Yeah.
doubled down and said no. But Universal Studio decided to pick it up, and we got Serenity, which is
And
a great
that's
movie.
to put us in the time machine, because this is actually 20. I've just realized this is 20 years ago now. Crikey. Um 20 years ago, so before a lot of you that are watching right now were born, there was a thing, because now the idea of watch parties and stuff like that, it's a bit more regular and normal. Back then there were people having, Firefly brown coat parties and getting together. Same thing, like around that time would have been Donnie Darko, and people going, it had gained this sort of following, kind of like Rocky Horror Picture Show, where there was a screen or two showing it nonstop because people would come and do their watch parties in cinemas. Even it was like social media did change the world, but there was always this element that existed before Twitter, before Instagram, and people were making use of whatever they had to hand. And DVDs, Paul, explains why Family Guy has lasted so long, because
Yeah,
Family Guy was not going to survive. They were out the door and dead. And then someone looked at the advertising receipts and were like, I don't know if we're pulling in the right eyeballs here. What's this other number? DVD sales, you say? Oh, holy God, that's a lot of money. And that's back when DVD was not just helping movies, it was doing things like this. TV shows, release Family Guy season 1 on DVD, all of a sudden be, number one selling box set. You're getting renewed because you're being made cheaply enough. And Family Guy is still going. And that's
yeah.
how many years is Family Guy going? Oh, I don't even want to think how many years Family Guy's going. It must be 15.
I'd say probably a little bit longer than that. But yeah, just even to go back onto the Firefly thing, when Firefly came out and was like for the first kind of couple of months, it was one of the most popular cosplays done in sci-fi conventions. Like everybody loved, like you can tell the success of a fan base suddenly cropping up if you go to a convention and the majority of people are dressed in brown coats or in uh like in attire of like sci-fi cowboy kind of stuff, and it's
Yep.
attributed to the Firefly series. So,
It was truly had way more impact than its show was ever allowed to have on TV, which is kind of funny as a case study in how wrong TV execs can get it. Like you say, shown out of sequence, tried to be buried, had its time slot moved around. There was only 13 episodes. They didn't have to just mess around with it so much. They could have given it a run and then decided. But as I was saying, back then the itchy trigger fingers and the crazy pencils that they were swinging around the place was just messing stuff up.
yeah, like yeah, the first episode that was shown was the train job, which is the first part of a two-parter story arc, and then the first part literally just explains and introduces all the characters. So you had no idea who the characters were the first time this showed.
Yeah,
So
makes no
um,
sense.
we should definitely do a whole episode on kind of how the mix up of shows and stuff like that, of where pilots and
That's a
stuff.
really good idea, actually. Yeah, that is a good idea.
But
Comment down below if you want to see that.
but yeah, so onto a couple of other stuff. As you said, DVD sales for Family Guy saved this like completely. It was a dying show until the DVD sales came out. So, but onto another show, Arrested Development, another popular show, another popular comedy show. It seems like comedy shows and it seems to be kind of so comedy shows and sci-fi shows seems to be kind of the targets for these kind of episodes, and it seems like the fans of comedy and sci-fi seem to be one of the most kind of passionate.
Thankfully.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Thankfully.
some of the greatest shows we probably wouldn't have. Um, but yeah, Arrested Development wasn't seeing great numbers in its second season, which there was rumblings of a cancellation coming, and a massive campaign came out, and even so there was letters, Twitter tweets, which was videos, everything from fans, including an absolutely massive inundation of bananas being sent to the studio.
My favorite part of this story.
Like so much. Like this is incredible. Like yeah, it's out of all the
I
things.
did say it at the start, folks. There's weird shit with sandwiches and bananas and just, yeah. Sorry.
But that's the thing. Like it seems like yeah. Once again, passionate people were just like it's. If you don't know what the banana, let's just say there's always money in the banana store or banana like stand. Okay,
Always money in the
always money in
banana
the
stand.
banana stand. Which proved kind of in this sense as well.
True,
Um,
yeah.
that Netflix picked it up for a third. I think Netflix picked it up for a third season or fourth season.
Yeah.
And a studio. I can't remember. This is the only problem with me.
It's these we could never, and like if we talk about Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I don't even want to try and remember which studios almost did and didn't buy it and pick it up at different times. It's almost impossible to remember who has saved what when for some shows.
My only point of information on Arrested Development is I know Netflix did the final series
Yeah.
of Arrested Development kind of thing. But yeah, Save Our Bluth .com was up and running, which was there's massive campaigns going on, and as I said, bananas being sent into studios
Yeah,
constantly.
and people buying merch, Bluth merch left, right, and center. Anything they could do that was remotely branded or tangential to the show. And that's it. That's the other thing. The people spend their money. It's not just about a letter writing campaign. The people who should be thanked most are the people who did it all. The ones that put their hand in their pocket to fly a plane past Jeff Bezos's window, or not just go and buy a subway, but in some cases, like really dig deep, organize things, and put themselves out because they really love something. And I think if we were to ever create something, Paul, that somebody wanted to pay money to have it go or remain, I would find that incredibly touching. Now, this is a perfect point for us to have a Patreon and for me to drop in that thing, but we don't. So, folks, we're not looking for your money. But yeah, I think there's something really touching about not just that people will let their, use their passion to try and keep something alive, but they'll put their time, effort, and one of the most scarce resources for most people who watch sci-fi and comedy is money. So yeah,
Like,
yeah, I think it's nice.
well, with Patrick saying that we don't have a Patreon page, that is correct. But if you like to like, share, and subscribe, share us out to all our friends, to all your friends and stuff, it really helps out the show. In lieu of giving us money, give us 5 seconds of your time of a tweet or something like that, which would be
Yeah,
great.
that would be much appreciated. And a comment, because we like to hear from you, and it doesn't hurt the analytics.
So, but yeah, like, it's incredible. Like, we've got one more kind of one to go to, which is our big kind of surprise. But even just going into it, it is a massive surprise about how passionate fans can be for certain shows, and it does see that a lot of the lists skew towards comedy and sci-fi, and including fantasy as well. Um, but it's an interesting kind of point of the passionate, or the passion of the audience, saving the shows, because we could have done a shorter show on fans trying to kill things,
This is
um
true.
but like but the list for saving shows is so much larger, that you can definitely, like, do your own research and see, and comment down below which shows you thought was an interesting save
Oh yeah.
and stuff like that. So, but we'll run on to the our biggest kind of um shock, which is the original Star Trek second season ratings were dropping like iron or an anvil in water. I don't know where I
Oh
was going with that.
my God. I was about to do a Shatner, and then I realized I don't have one. I don't have a Shatner. But yeah, Star Trek. Everybody forgets the Star Trek the original series didn't. It wasn't just a huge runaway success.
No, no, second season ratings were awful. This is a more of a concept of studios and production places not knowing their audience. Because this is a
Very
big
much
thing.
so in this case.
Yeah, this was so Star Trek came out, and it was a rousing success for the first season, but it was something new, kind of thing. The second season, things started dropping off quite considerably, kind of thing, and the reason was that studios thought that the majority of the audience were all kids. They were all kids, and they wanted to try, and some of the things that they wanted to try was to maybe exploit some more into the kind of kids audience kind of things. But also bigger executives were just like, no, we don't, like, we want shows that capture adults, kind of, because they can consume a lot more than kind of like children. And this is a fairly, at the time, fairly expensive kind of show to create, kind of thing. uh Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, got a campaign together of all his audience members, and or all his fans and everything, and got them to write in. Um, the studio was absolutely inundated with not emails, with mail,
Yeah.
like physical mail, because there was no internet back then. Like, absolute massive amount of mail.
And much to their surprise, none of it was in crayon, and it was all spelled correctly, because it wasn't a show that 4-year-olds were keeping afloat.
Yeah, it was an absolute inundation of the audience members, or the adult audience members, saying that they love the show. It's the best show, that they want to keep it going and everything. And once again, this is probably the patriarch of a lot of sci-fi shows, kind of things, that they're not plugged towards children anymore. Because, like, things with, like, what is this, with Duck Dodgers, and a couple of other, like, Captain, like, Flash Gordon and stuff like that.
Oh right, yeah, Buck Rogers, the old swashbuckling space adventure types.
Yeah, they were more targeted towards kids, kind of thing. Um, this showed the fact that there was a massive market for adults who really enjoyed sci-fi, because they grew up with the sci-fi comics and stuff like that. That the studio decided to keep it going for another season, and it exploded again. Like, once people realized that the fact that the show was going to go off the air and stuff, and that they, as adults, saved it, which is, the ratings went up and just kept going up and up and up. So,
And it's safe to say it's had quite the storied history since then, with the movies and obviously the other series. But one of the most healthy and strongest fan bases that covers all sorts of generations. There are people discovering it today at the age of 12, and there are people who are 82 and still diehard trackers, trackies. You choose your term for yourself. I will never label you. And it hasn't lost any of its magic for a huge number of people.
Yeah, like they became like the most well known fan base, other than maybe later on the Star Wars fans.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. From a TV series point of view, absolutely, they were the biggest fan base. Yeah, I suppose the Star Wars fans kind of, yeah, maybe ran them close at one stage,
but
but I think longevity wise, I would give it to Star Trek every time.
yeah, like it's such a there's so many communities out there now on Trekkies or Star
Mm.
Trek's fans kind of thing. So it's just an incredible kind of thing. But yeah, so that's the kind of thing. Like one of the most iconic sci-fi shows we know, Star Trek, the original series, that spanned such a massive universe and everything, was in danger of failing completely. And wow, if you look back and you were the person going, we should definitely keep this going, that person should be minted.
Yeah, good choice. You deserve a statue. That's that. There you go. There's a statue worthy thing in entertainment. Paul, I know we're heading towards a close, but I just want to throw in one last kind of not specific to a show. There are over the generations of TV as TV's evolved, we got to points where cartoons were no longer just for kids. Simpsons changed things, and all that happened. But the economic structure for TV shows has changed, including streaming, but even pre-streaming, the idea of reality TV, and particularly a brand of reality TV that helped TV executives understand one financial thing: the idea that you can make money from people voting on something, be that on a Love Island show where it's a reality TV show where you keep a contestant in or out, or be it one of the very many song singer talent type shows, America's Got Talent, whatever it might be. And I have no problem with those shows, and this is not an admonishment of them, but why saving things like comedies and sci-fis are usually left to the fans. There isn't a direct line of revenue that's always completely visible, but it doesn't mean that it's not there, which is why my one kind of message to everybody out there: if you like something, support it, and support it vocally in any clever way you can, even if it's not in danger, because that's how you avoid it becoming in danger. And sometimes by the time you realize they're about to take away what you love, it's too late. So yeah, if you're into something, don't be afraid to be part of a supporting community. I'm not saying that everybody has to go and buy every piece of merch just in the hope that their show will stay alive,
Yeah,
but don't be complacent, because the people watching the singing competition and phoning in, that's a different business model. People who are writing and scripting um, television episodic shows, it's a harder thing to explain to advertisers why after 4 seasons you still want to hear more from the crew of the Starship Orville, let's say.
yeah,
You all thought I was going to say Enterprise. Turned it around on you, because who knows what's next on the chopping block.
yeah. I completely. That's a really good message to kind of end the show. Is yeah, just show your support in any way you can. Message on message boards, tweet some of your favorite shows. Also show your support for some of the actors that you also really
Hmm.
enjoy, because like that's what they do. It they do it for your entertainment, not always just for a massive paycheck kind of thing. So I will say this is
Not
something
always.
I will show. I just got this recently, which I do
Ooh.
definitely have to show you, Patrick.
Oh,
Which
cool. I
was
haven't seen this yet. Is that an ED? It is. I spotted it before you even brought it. Very nice, my friend.
it is a damaged Ed 209 from the original RoboCop.
RoboCop. Yeah. Oh, that's so wonderful.
So
Yeah, we are nerds, folks. In case anybody was wondering, we're not just sci-fi nerds. We're entertainment TV nerds, car nerds, writing nerds, comedy nerds, uh, people who love life nerds. We like it all. And really, if you want to keep one show going, make it this one. And the way that happens is if at least one of you keeps watching, we'll keep making it. Really appreciate your time. Really appreciate your comments. Hit any buttons you want that can help us. But like Paul said, get an out share. It's like the TV shows I was just saying. Let's build a community, because I don't want to hear voices that are just mine. Like obviously, Paul, I want to hear yours because I do the show with you. But I don't want it to be just our voices. So yeah, let's hear some people disagreeing with us. Let's all get together.
Yeah, let's build a Hear Us Out community that is completely open to the opinions of everybody on film and TV.
Yeah,
you know?
And we'll save a show someday.
Yeah.
Maybe by sending them a sandwich with banana in it. Oh, damn it, that's not original at all. All right, Paul, walk us home, my brother.
That would be a really terrible sandwich, would it? I don't know.
Gross. I don't like banana sandwiches.
No, neither do I. I know they're a thing. Anyway, thanks. Thanks very much for watching. Because I've been Paul.
I've been Patrick.
And we'll see you again next Thursday. Which is same time, same channel,
same internet, same YouTube.
Same YouTube. We've been Hear Us Out. Thank you.
See you later. Bye.